Talofalava Malolele, glad you could join us for the Pacific Way. First up tonight is a short film that highlights the commitment by Pacific Island countries and territories towards the Decade of Sustainable Energy for All in the Pacific 2014 to 2024. This story showcases the Sea for All initiative at the highest political level and the resolve to address both the energy and climate change challenges we face.
The global search for low-cost, environmentally friendly, efficient and affordable energy sources has become an area of major policy consideration in the last few decades. For developing countries in the Pacific, this is where the future of social and economic development lies. 1.3 billion people, or 1 in every 5 globally, are denied opportunities because they don't have access to electricity. In the Pacific Island countries and territories, 70% or 7 in every 10 are denied this opportunity. One of the most profound impacts of sustainable energy has been on community-wide economic activities. Sustainable energy sources will enable people to engage in economic activities and make use of their talents and skills to establish businesses. Electricity enables children to study after dark, and for teachers use modern teaching techniques and equipment. Also, a clean energy source enables clean water to reach every community and for medicine to be readily available among the remotest of villages. Energy also empowers everyone with information through the internet and mobile phones. With the growing demand for energy sources coupled with the diminishing level of the world's energy reserves, there is now an urgent need to look for sustainable energy sources which are environmentally friendly, readily available, accessible and affordable. The key to these challenges is to provide sustainable energy for all, energy that is more reliable, cheaper, cleaner and more efficient.
I think for the Pacific, renewable energy and sustainable energy is no longer an option. If you look at the amount of money, the amount of the country's GDP that's spent on fuel import, it's a very significant amount and it's highly unsustainable.
Globally, 2 billion people live on less than $1 a day. Lives of disadvantaged and less fortunate communities in the Pacific Island countries and territories can be transformed through access to clean, affordable, safe and reliable energy sources. Making optimum use of readily available energy sources is a welcome challenge for many communities. Energy can be used to support businesses and achieve greater prosperity. A farmer who has access to water in his fields can double the amount grown, feed his family and earn a living. A sewing machine and a light to work at night can enable a woman to generate extra income for her family. Greater prosperity means more disposable income and new markets for consumer goods. At the 41st Pacific Islands Forum at Port Vila, Vanuatu in August 2010, leaders endorsed the Framework for Action on Energy Security in the Pacific, FAESP 2010 to 2020, and reaffirmed their commitment to renewable energy and energy-efficient future based on achievable, practical and voluntary targets.
The Framework for Action on Energy Security in the Pacific promotes a whole-of-sector approach and the concept of many partners, one team. This is the approach that we firmly believe can act as a catalyst to step up development of the energy sector in the Pacific and promote clean, efficient and effective technologies to achieve energy access for all.
The launch of the FAESP was a step ahead of the UN's effort. The resolution to designate 2012 as the International Year for Sustainable Energy for All, C4All, was passed by the United Nations General Assembly in December 2010. This was in recognition of the growing importance of energy and economic development and climate change mitigation. Pursuing the C4All initiative would have to be a collaborative effort. This is necessary as Pacific Island countries and territories are fully committed to the C4All initiative at the highest political level.
This Pacific Islands regional rollout of the International Year of Sustainable Energy for All is a collaborative effort between the regional organizations of the Pacific, namely the Pacific Islands Forum Secretariat, the Pacific Power Association, Secretariat of the Pacific Regional Environment Program, Secretariat of the Pacific Community, and the University of the South Pacific. And it includes IUCN, GIZ, the Sustainable Energy Industry Association of the Pacific Islands, and the Reserve Bank of Fiji and other government and private sector entities in Fiji. It is a testimony to the effectiveness of SPC's coordinating role in the regional energy scene.
The International Year, or C4All, is therefore aimed at increasing awareness of the importance of addressing energy issues, including modern energy services for all, access to affordable energy, energy efficiency, and the sustainability of energy sources and use. Through this awareness, it is hoped that governments, businesses, and civil society will commit to taking concrete actions that will help achieve C4All by 2030.
In 2013, the Pacific Island leaders took the C4All initiative further when the Kingdom of Tonga convened the inaugural Pacific Leaders Energy Summit, PLES, at Nuku'alofa. Leaders called for a region-wide sharing of data about all energy-related projects and outcomes. Thus, PLES adopted the Pacific Regional Data Repository for C4All.
The Pacific Leaders Energy Summit can be seen as our support for these declarations and bring our region in alignment with the global effort to realize the goal of sustainable energy for all, a decade or so from now.
Following the PLES, the Pacific Energy Summit, co-hosted by New Zealand and the European Union, was held in Auckland, New Zealand in March 2013.
Well, I'd be disappointed if we couldn't look around the neighbourhood and see us 50% renewable in that period. There aren't too many excuses, actually, apart from a lack of political will.
At the 44th Pacific Island Leaders Forum in the Republic of Marshall Islands, leaders endorsed the Majuro Declaration for Climate Leadership, which contains the individual country targets to their respective energy sector.
I want also to congratulate the President of the Marshall Islands and his government, and also with the support of the Foreign Secretariat, for coming up with this proposed declaration on climate change. I think it's a very, very timely initiative, and we, Tuvalu, certainly want to strongly support the idea, the symbolism of having a very strong declaration out of this meeting of leaders here in Majuro. We also are going to work hard to make sure the declaration encourages urgent actions on climate change.
The Sea for All commitments of the Pacific can be realized through innovative financing mechanism and partnerships through the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, the National Development Bank of Palau, and the Secretariat of the Pacific Community implemented European Union North Pacific ACP Renewable Energy and Energy Efficiency Project, or NORTHREP as it is commonly known.
NORTHREP has this overarching objective, poverty alleviation through access to renewable energy. The other component is reducing reliance on fossil fuels. At the end of the day, it addresses three key areas. One, developing the respective countries so that they have the capacity to sustain renewable energy and energy efficiency. The other component focuses on renewable energy technologies. And the third component is on improved energy efficiency.
Our partner in Palau is the National Development Bank. Palau National Development Bank is implementing this home loan energy efficiency program where the new homeowners that go to the bank and require loan have to have certain energy efficiency measures incorporated into their loan.
The National Development Bank of Palau has an energy efficient subsidy program, and that program is funded by the Austrian and the Italian government. And what we do is we help the new homeowners build their homes and have the energy measures put in their homes, and the subsidy is used to subsidize their loan, so the loan can be lowered. So it helps our client, and it will also help with the climate change and subsidizing measures in place to get away from the fossil fuel and diesel.
The Secretariat of the Pacific Community, SPC, is the lead regional agency on energy in the Pacific, responsible for coordinating and monitoring the implementation of the Framework for Action on Energy Security in the Pacific, FAESP. SPC also works with other organizations and partners to improve energy security in the region.
In this pristine area of the world, it becomes even more compelling for us, where the islands are small and the vulnerability of the islands, that we seek to move away from fossil fuel dependent economies to green, clean, renewable, sustainable energy sources. And it's probably one of the most important projects for SPC, in my view, to ensure that islands develop and sustain green, renewable energy sources.
Energy is one of the major drivers of modern progress. While the traditional sources of energy, such as fossil fuel, are quickly being depleted and have been the cause of much pollution and economic burdens, the need for alternative, sustainable energy sources and more efficient practices become imperative. For Pacific Island states, this is a major challenge as we increase our rate of development while maintaining a clean environment at the same time.
Welcome back. You're watching The Pacific Way. The 5th Melanesian Festival of Arts and Culture is just around the corner. On the 28th of June, the best artisans from around Melanesia will converge on Papua New Guinea to showcase their talent and skills in a huge celebration of cultural diversity. This entertaining piece from Vanuatu was performed at the last Melanesian Festival of Arts in New Caledonia. Enjoy.
Dance that we have seen now is what we call Luan Magam, but it's one of the most ritual sacred dance from the southern part of the island of Malakula, called the Naluan. We give very respect to the ceremony of circumcision and also to the faith, because the faith is that to accompany the spirit of the faith to the, we call it the perfection, the perfect. So that's why we have to do rituals, ceremony dances to accompany the spirit of these important people. Like, you mean important people because in our society everybody is important. Like from the child to the old people. Yeah. Important sense of the respect of the dance is very important, and we have rules, and to take this kind of dance out we have some specific rules to perform first, to take this route out of the country. We call it vivang in our language, but this to make sound to accompany the rhythm of the tam-tams, the lakes. I think the important thing is we believe that our full bodies is in relationship with the soil. So that's why when they ask me if the boys want to perform on the stage, I don't want to perform on the stage because there is no link between the stage and so it's good to perform on the soil. So you have these harmonizations between the spirit and the message that you took linked with the land that we belong. Dances from Papua New Guinea, Solomon Island and Fiji, those all dances are unique. That's Melanesia, and that's very important. Because you can have one Melanesia with one particular, no. I think the Melanesia is, I think, the best, the regions that have many diversity of what you can see in the world. So I think it's very important, and I am glad also to be part of this region, and I'm glad also to be Melanesians. Yeah.
We've come to the end of the show. Thank you for your company. Before we go, just a reminder that you can find us on Facebook and on YouTube. Do drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you. Until next time, Mo Demanda.